Welcome to Homegrown, where we highlight the people and stories that shape the character of life here in Arkansas. In this episode, we'll meet Arkansas makers who are redefining our state through their creativity and passion. A photographer revolutionizing portraits in the internet age. We'll hear from an Arkansas collector and his closet full of country music history. And finally, we'll visit an Arkansas transplant who took her self-expression to New York Fashion Week and beyond. But we start in the hills of Mountain View, where a unique group of craftsmen are working to make what is old new again.
I think what makes our people tick here has somewhat to do with the kind of environment that we're in right now. We live in a small community in the hills of Arkansas. The old timers call it hard scrabble because people worked really hard just to put a living together and did everything that they could do to make that happen. And so it's a tough environment, and people who grow up working hard have the attribute that you need in order to be a blacksmith in this kind of environment. But you also have to have creativity. So if people like Daniel, I can hand something off to Daniel and say, Daniel, I want you to create this table, and I want this table to hold up a thick piece of glass with branches, and I want it to have birds, and I want it to be a fall table, so there should be hand-forged leaves laying on the ground below it at the base. And Daniel will take that idea, and in his mind he pictures it, and then he can make his hands create that. And it's precisely the kind of people that we need in order to make a place like this work in such an isolated environment like the hills of Arkansas.
We wake up about 4 to 4:30 in the morning, and we'll usually drive out and pick up Mr. Dennis. And then we just go straight to Valero, across the street, get our breakfast. Even though I've been here for a little over 3 months now, it's still at times really difficult to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'll go to the back seat, that way I don't have to sit between Mr. Dennis and Dad. And whenever I figured out, oh hey, I can lay down back here and have the entire back seat to myself, I think I figured that out on my second day. It's like I can get an extra 15 to 20 minutes of sleep this way. Why not? The first time I think I came to the shop, I was in kindergarten. And what it was I asked my dad, he would come home talking about work, talking about stuff he made. And he didn't have a phone at the time, so I'd never seen pictures of it really. And actually got to see it firsthand, and that was probably the first time it really clicked. Like, I kind of want to try this. Working with Dad is interesting. Not bad at all.
You want to grab a couple more?
Yeah. 3-8's got it. Oh, I was excited because I had no idea what anything was. I knew what a hammer and an anvil were, but that was about the extent of it. I'd heard about what a forge was. I had never seen a forge until that first time I came in.
I'll get 2 of them going.
When you get to the anvil, it's hard to get most guys to understand where to hit it to make it move how you want it to move. Look at there. I believe that looks pretty good. What do you think? Now, make sure you're flat that way.
Still trying to wrap my mind around all that. When I look at it, I just see one anvil, like just as it is, but there's a lot of different spaces to be used and reasons for all the nooks and crannies in there.
I don't think it's a lost art anymore. It was going to be a lost art. In ancient times, they made tools. That was a highly important thing, being able to make other tools. A good example of what they made is this nail right here. So until around 1900, no nails were made by a machine. Somebody had to stand in front of an anvil and make every single nail. But in recent times, particularly the last 15 years or so, there's been a renewed interest in the craft. That sound. I've had other people at the Folk Center tell me that as long as they could hear that anvil ringing, they knew things were okay.
Heritage. You know, I grew up like this, and I'll die like this. You know, it's part of my heritage. Me, Dennis, and Daniel has gone back for years. You can rely on them. You can depend on them.
We tried to watch out for each other as much as possible to make sure nobody gets burnt. Keep them from getting hurt if you can. Because I know it's just skin, it'll heal, but
we all help each other where help's needed. And sometimes we help them when they don't want help, you know, and then they run you off. But I don't know, I think we all just, we're there for each other if one is needed, you know, by someone.
Yeah, it's definitely like a family.
He's a good kid. He hasn't been here that long. He's probably been here 6 months, maybe. Daniel wanted him to follow in his footsteps, and that's what he's doing.
the only one I'm really interested in passing everything on to that I know is my son. There's a lot of stuff that I do know that I won't teach anybody else besides him. As long as we can take the time and have the patience with him, I think he'd make a decade of him a good blacksmith.
Watch, it's still hot right there. Yeah, I know. I'm not grabbing it there. I've learned my lesson.
Cool it off the rest of the way. You want to try the next one, or you want me to?
I'll give it a shot.
I don't know what I done, but what me and his mom done, but he's turned out a lot better than what we expected. Thank goodness he didn't give me and his mama the headaches that I give my parents.
Okay, if I glance at this one real quick. Got it, okay. Well, it's another form of art, to put it simply. And other forms of art are celebrated around the world, so why not blacksmithing? It was a major part of life back years and years ago. May not be as as needed, but it's still in its own right a beautiful form of art.
There's a lot of machines out there now that they can take pictures and reproduce it with a machine. And that's not the same as doing it handcraft. Not bad. Not bad. It passed. It passed. First try. As far as telling him how special it is for me to have him up here working with me, I think he pretty well knows it. I've got a lot of love for him. He's about the most important thing in the world for me right now. I wouldn't trade the last 4 months for nothing. Him working up here with me, I wouldn't trade it.
It took me a lot to learn what I learned, what I know, and I still learn. I get things that come along that like, golly, how am I gonna do that? We gotta teach the new guys like William and Braden to do it, or it is gonna be lost, or this ain't gonna be around much longer.
It takes sometimes 2 or 3 years to create a master blacksmith. I can't remember in the last number of years where we've ever had an opportunity just to hire a blacksmith off the street. It typically doesn't happen that way.
The art of blacksmithing and working with metal in that way, I don't want to see that lost. I don't want to see that gone. I want to see it carried on to the next generation, and I want them to see the value that it holds.
Once knowledge is lost, it's really hard to get it back to the same state it used to be. Like where there's been techniques lost over the years, there's been knowledge lost, and we may never get that back, as sad as it is.
I just wished I actually had enough time to pass all of it on to them. The knowledge needs to be passed down. It definitely does. As far as production blacksmithing, I can kind of see it coming to an end for some people because older bodies just don't hold up like it used to.
I've run across several guys young guys that want to do it and is interested in it. And in reality, they're the ones that would keep it going. But if it's not passed down, it's going to be lost, you know. Well, all the ones I know, they're my age.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important to carry on the tradition. Definitely.
The work of Daniel, Dennis, and the others at Urban Forge is truly incredible. How they honor the old ways while creating something new is the mark of a true innovator. North Little Rock photographer Jason Sterling excels in a different type of innovation. His mastery of visual effects is bringing new excitement to Arkansas sports photography.
That's good. You want to see it?
Oh, that's dope. Yes, sir. I need them ASAP.
The term that most people who do this type of sports work, they call it sportraits. So I typically ask my teams, like, what kind of look do you want? 90% of the time they want a dark background and they want the fog machine. At first, it really didn't catch on. I've really had this kind of style of photos since 2014, and back then I wasn't using a fog machine or atmosphere aerosol in a can. I was using baby powder. Baby powder looks really cool, but it's also very messy. Don't recommend using it. So this is Mayflower High School senior, and we set his bat on fire. The kid's name is actually Blaze. And I have a special mixture that I use. It lights, and it goes up in like 1 second and it's gone. So you gotta be quick taking the picture. The kids really like the fire photos. I can't do it for all my teams. It just takes too long to kind of set up. Or if your name's Blaze. I mean, if your name's Blaze, we have to. So I had an idea, what if I show my behind the scenes on a regular phone and what it actually looks like with a professional camera with lighting, so you can just show the difference. I get people commenting on videos, this could easily be done in Photoshop in like 5 minutes. And I can do it right now in 1 minute and I don't have to do it later. The more you can do in camera, the less post work you have to do. Is gonna make your life so much better. This has the most views online of any of my reaction videos. And that video was shared by ESPN, SportsCenter, and I have a couple of reaction videos that I've posted on TikTok and Instagram that have like over 30 million views. It makes my job kind of rewarding to actually see people like react that way to the photos that I take. I want these kids and their parents to actually have something that they want to like hang on their wall and they want to remember.
The quality, the lighting, I gotta have it. That's the new profile pic,
Jason's work always gets a big reaction. Nudie Combe was an innovator too, making elaborate rhinestone-covered suits that got big reactions from the likes of Porter Wagner, Elvis Presley, and Graham Parsons, and have become iconic symbols of Americana.
Well, when I was a kid, my father and I used to sit in the car because you couldn't get radio reception in the house and listen to the Grand Ole Opry. And he would tell me about nudie and about nudie suits. And they say that when you get old, you collect the things that you liked as a kid. And from there, I started a collection of nudie suits. Most people don't know who Nudie was, but generally the first question is people look around in amazement and go, what is this?
They're really iconic. I mean, even if you don't know what they are, you've probably seen them from, concert footage or, photographs. They really are a unique piece of history in the country music world.
Nudie Cohen was a tailor in Hollywood. And from the books I've read about him, he started out making outfits for men's clubs for strippers. And Country artists, Porter Wagner, people like that were in the California area, got him to start making suits for him. And that's where it all grew from. He actually did Elvis's gold lame suit from Skull Shulman. Well, Hank Snow, Bill Anderson have a Ray Price. One of the more famous ones from the rock eras is Graham Parsons, where he had marijuana leaves and everything else on it. That seems to be the one most people know. But anybody that's graced the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, Little Jimmy Dickens, all of those folks, they would have had a nudie of some sort.
The first time we walked through the doors for the festival this year, Brian Hembry, one of the co-founders of the festival, said, well, first priority, you need to pick out a nudie suit to wear for any of your performances.
Brian came to me and asked, because they have their new Roots headquarters over here, if he might borrow a nudie suit and do a display at the headquarters. And then on top of that, why don't you find somebody to wear one on stage so we can see the suits back where they belong, which is with somebody wearing them, playing music.
They range from suits that were worn by huge stars. I don't know that there's any Hank Williams, but there is a Clarence White suit. And I gravitated toward that one. It has fringe and these beautiful kind of sterling buttons on it. And got to wear it for a performance on the main stage. It was really quite a pleasure.
What I'm looking for is bright colors. You want the deep embroidery, you want lots of rhinestones, and then all nudie suits have a theme to them, like this Hank Snow suit with all the roses and then the pants that go with it. And so we're looking for some of the wow factor that nudie did. There'll be some of them, you'll see the shirts that, they're stained because they've been worn on stage by guys that are sweating. I mean, they're old, we want to keep them old.
You can't help but feel like, okay, man, I'm really in it. I'm sort of like looking this part. If you're singing like a classic country song, a Hank Williams song or something like that, you definitely feel a kind of spirit in it, and it's heavy and it's cool.
There's always room for more good country clothes.
Nudie Combe was one of a kind. His style and craftsmanship make Neil's collection of suits irreplaceable. The most successful of innovators are often imitated, but never replicated. Individuality like that is a must in the world of high fashion. Arkansas's own Kato Mamalu knows a thing about that and spoke about it in this interview with Arkansas PBS's Epiphany Big Piff Morrow.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Big Piff. As many of y'all know, I started off my career as a high-end designer and fashion model. From shows in the Caribbean, to New York City Fashion Week, to being on reality TV. Okay, that's all a lie. But luckily, I do have a friend that has done all that. So today, I get to chop it with Kato Mamalu. We're gonna see what she's doing now, as well as find out the source of inspiration for her glow.
Everything from like when you wake up in the morning, everything on your bed, your car, everything, your furniture, this hat you have on, the clothes you wear, obviously, but like almost everything in life is sewn with the sewing machine.
So, Kato, my mom actually used to sew back when I was a kid. But,
really?
Yeah, but I literally haven't seen anybody sew since like 1964. So,
what?
So yeah, if you could show me.
I'm gonna get your mama when I see her.
Yeah.
Like, you ain't sewing no more?
Nah, she done retired and lived that life.
So my focus is to make sure that when I'm sewing, I don't let my fabric get over here. Now, no, my stitch is crooked now. You know what I mean?
So how'd you learn how to sew? Who taught you?
My aunt actually taught me. It was like a crash course before I actually went to design school because I could draw really well, but then it came upon me at the last minute that you're gonna have to know how to sew. So I got in based on that, even though she helped me. Thank you, Auntie. And pretty straightforward, so it looks pretty easy, right?
Oh, I'm not gonna front. Nah, because you might ask me to do something.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to do it anyway.
I know that's called a setup.
I wanna see if you were paying attention.
Cool.
You gotta put your back in it.
So I was that kid always like broke stuff, so I'm getting like extra junk right now.
Oh my God.
Because I can't afford nothing.
All right. So then there's no way you should sew crooked.
No way I should.
No way.
No way I could. All right, bet.
Absolutely no way that should happen. Just push the pedal.
Oh yeah, it went fast. It ain't crooked though.
It's like a car. So imagine like the first time you went driving.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, too fast. But no one has another set of brakes, so it's all on you.
I think this could be in your fall line, what we're doing right now.
Yeah, so imagine doing this for the first time on a reality show.
Right.
Everybody's watching, your whole life is like put on hold for this, and if you don't get it, you're gonna get sent home. So I had to do all that, what you just did, and still make it in the top 3, to keep going. So that just gives you a little insight of my life on reality TV.
Cato ended up earning a spot in the 5th season of the hit show Project Runway. Because of her style and spirit, she easily became fan favorite and ultimately ended up becoming first runner-up on the show. Now, being the person that she was, she flipped this into a successful career of design and fashion. Now, despite her busy schedule and international travel, she decided to keep her home base in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's like when I do a new project, nowadays I'm to the point like I only want to do it if it like challenges me or pushes me some way. So how did your partnership with Women Grow come about?
Our hashtag was like for women by women. So I think they understood that it needed to be fashion, and they're women, these are women. They're working everyday businesses. This might be their side business or their whole business, but you want to walk into a boardroom and just look like who you look like, but represent your brand.
Right.
And this way was a way they could do it where it was always a conversation piece would come with it. You know what I mean? It wouldn't just be like, what are you wearing? What's that about? It would always spark conversation into what they're doing instead of it just being a jacket.
Gotcha. Women's Grow is a non-profit to empower women in the cannabis industry. They teamed with Cato in the summer of 2019, and to no surprise, they sold out instantly.
Simple sports bra with the Women Grow logo on it, but just little features like this. It's not just a sports bra you can just get anywhere. It has something special. I learned that on Project Runway. Michael Kors, that's the one thing he taught me, is like, a look is only good if it keeps on giving you something. If you just have this one thing that just gives you, this is it, you get bored easily. So for women especially, they have to have all these different features. So if I was to wear this and cover this up, the next time I could wear it and be like, okay, you didn't know this was in the back, you know what I mean? And we decided to take what we did with the athleisure stuff, but then go a little step further and do high fashion and kind of show what that would mean for, the cannabis industry. And really it was like a coming out party. It's spreading. Every state now, daily or monthly, is passing laws to okay medicinal, some non-medicinal. But the main thing is just breaking the stigma of it.
The clothing line premiered in September 2019 and set NYC Fashion Week ablaze. It wasn't just a style statement, but one of women's empowerment and also progressive thought.
And that's like most designers hate when other designers come by, because when your back is turned, they're like, but for my industry that we, there's a lot of waste.
Right.
You get rid of your clothes. Some people give it away and repurpose it, but some people just throw it in the trash.
Right.
They don't pay for it and try to help anybody with it. So same thing. And then this is all burlap. I wanted to take fabrics that we normally look at as ugly. Like, who would think of wearing a potato sack, right?
Right.
But taking things that we think are normally ugly and making them beautiful, because I think right now inclusion is like really huge. Everybody's about inclusion. So how can we do that and do the same thing with like fabrics? So this piece here, this is kind of cool because this is hemp. So I did want to include hemp. Hemp, I didn't realize was so hard to find in America. And most of it comes in like solid colors or like natural colors. And then the one company I found that had color, they're all sold out. So they had these skirts that were pre-made.
Right.
So I ordered like 6 skirts and I deconstructed them.
Oh,
so
wow.
I kind of repurposed it. Yeah, so like that's why you kind of see like a little crinkle, because they were kind of like these gathered skirts.
Right, right.
I had to really think of how I could take this stuff in, because I really needed to put hemp in the fabric. And I mean, it's beautiful fabric. Like when you touch it, it looks just like linen. So this entire outfit here is, sustainable. Nothing's new anymore in fashion.
Okay.
Pants, shirt, jacket. So I'm like, okay, if I do a bomber jacket, how can I switch this up to make it dope where it's not, no pun intended. We have I thought of doing these metal plates with like the leaf in it where it would show through. Just that hardware, and the hardware represented like women. That's how we are. We're really resilient. Like the woman with this metal plate, you can sit here and bend it, and it'll seem like it's bent out of shape. But if you really sit there, you can put her back straight. She might have little kinks in her, but she's still strong. She's still resilient. She's still gonna be metal. So there's like little meanings like that in everything.
Bumps, bruises, bent but never broken. That's just what strong entrepreneurs like Cato do. After a phenomenal showing at Fashion Week, she now looks to grow the future of the brand.
A lot of people picked up the story, and it's still being picked up now this. So now it's just to go after that momentum and keep growing with anything. Like if you have a hot album, you can't go on vacation after. You gotta work. Like Beyonce takes no breaks. If you sit down, somebody's ready to take your spot. We've opened up a market that no one in cannabis has thought of. So trust and believe next season there's gonna be a gazillion shows that are gonna be cannabis related, because now they see, oh, okay, well, we can do that too. Everyone's gonna always be like, I can do it too.
Right.
So now it's like stepping up that game and staying the course of what we've started and just keeping the momentum going and being innovative with it.
Resiliency, creativity, and down to pull off whatever needed to bring her work to the light. Just a few of the many reasons to celebrate Cato. Thankfully for us, her work is not yet done. Thankfully for us, there's still more time for her to spread the glow.
Arkansas is bursting with innovators. From the deep-rooted traditions of Urban Forge to the cutting-edge technology of Jason Sterling, Arkansas is home to countless world-class voices of vision. And I'm excited to see just what we think of next. That's it for this edition of Homegrown. Thanks for joining us to celebrate the makers and innovators shaping our home into a work of art. And speaking of makers, please take a moment to appreciate the folks whose hard work made this show possible. I'm Dawn Scott, and we'll see you next time.